All right, great job, boys and girls. You made it all the way to number 9. Number 9 says, Julie buys 36 oranges, 54 apples, and 108 bananas. She combines the fruit to make identical baskets without any fruit left over. So part A says, find the greatest number of baskets Julie can make. Find the greatest number of baskets Julie can make. How in the world am I supposed to figure that out? Well, we need to think, okay? And we have been in this unit, and so far in this unit and everything that we've learned about has been about number lines, and it has been about finding factors or finding multiples. And I know that we've been finding the greatest common factor or the least common multiple. And so since A says find the greatest number of baskets she can make, I'm thinking it has to do something with the greatest common factor, because if they all have the same factor, then the fruit can be split evenly into those baskets. So let's see if my thought process works out. So I'm going to take 36, I'm going to take 54, and I'm going to take 108, and I'm going to do my prime factorization to help me figure out what the greatest common factor is. Now, instead of doing the tree method that I usually do, I'm going to take this 36 and I'm going to switch it up and do the stair methods, because I know a couple of you guys like the stair method. So 36 divided by 3 is 12. So I'm putting my 3 over here. Then I have 3 again, and then it gives me 4. And then I have 2 and 2. Okay? So that's the other stair method of doing this. For this one, we have 54. So I know that 54 divided by 6 is 9. And this is where it gets really weird for me. So I'm going to kind of scratch this method. And I'm going to go back to the one that I feel comfortable with just 6 and 9. And then I have 3 and 2. And then 3 and 3. And then I have 108, which I know is even, so it can be divisible by 2. Then I have 54, which is what I started with over here. I'm going to need 6 and 9. And then I'll do it exactly. 3, 2, 3, 3. So now remember, in order to find the greatest common factor, we're going to go through and we're going to take all of our numbers and we're going to line them up. So we have 2 times 2 times 3 times 3, 2 times 3 times 3 times 3, and then 2 times 2 times 3 times 3 times 3. So there's at least 1 2 in every number. So I know the number 2 will be in my multiplication problem. There's a 2 here, but there's not a 2 here, so that doesn't work. There's a 3 here, a 3 here, and a 3 here. So I can use a 3. And then there's also a 3 here, and 3 here. So I can multiply times 3 again. So now I have 2 times 3, which is 6, and then 6 times 3, which is 18. So the greatest number, or the greatest common factor is 18, but that means the greatest number of baskets that she can make is 18. Because now the next question says find the number of each kind of fruit in the basket. So she's making 18 baskets, okay? We need to figure out how many of each kind of fruit is going to go into this basket. Well, if she has 36 oranges, how do I figure out how many are going to go into 18 baskets? Well, I'm going to take the 36 oranges, I'm going to divide them by 18. So that means because each basket is identical, right? We learned up here each basket is identical. Whoop, and there's no fruit left over, which means I have to use all of these numbers. So 36 oranges divided by 18 baskets is going to give me 2 oranges. I spelled oranges wrong. Oops. Okay, then I have to look at my apples. So I have 54 apples, and I'm dividing them into 18 baskets, and then 54 divided by 18. I'm thinking 18 plus 18 is 36. 36 plus another 18 is 54. So that's going to be 3 apples in every basket. And then I have to do 108 divided by 18. Okay, and then instead of going through and actually doing 108 divided by 18, we learned up here that 54 is half of 108, or 108 is double 54. So then I can do that same trick over here, because since I did times 2, I can also just take this times 2, and then there's going to be 6 bananas in each basket. Okay, did you see how I did that? If you don't understand how I did the times 2, you could still come over here and you could do 108 divided by 18, or you could go, you know, and do guess and check, and 18 times what is going to get you to 108. So that's another method you could do too. But we found out that the greatest number of baskets Julie can make is 18, and that there are 2 oranges, 3 apples, and 6 bananas in each basket. I want each and every one of you to believe in yourself. If you need additional practice, then you can use your textbook and use any of those problems in there to give yourself some extra practice on your textbook homework pages, and you will all do fantastic on your quiz tomorrow. See you tomorrow. Have a good night. Bye-bye.